they'd go, they'd go ballistic if you even suggested it. So you don't do that. So it depends on the situation. But you can internally, you can still be very smart about what you do.
And in spite, the customer's representative is present at the iteration planning, and
they should be there all the time. Yeah, they should. Yeah, and they should be producing. They should be making decisions in a timely manner, which means right now, and they should be providing information in a timely manner, which also means right now. And then at scale, what you find is that this concept of product owner or on-site customer doesn't scale very well. So you end up with more of a business analyst role there, and because they have to now, because when you're doing a large system, you've got a range of stakeholders. It's not just the end users. You've got operations people, support people, the enterprise architects. You've got 20 different types of end user, and they don't agree, and they're going to fight it out, and that's okay. So you need people with skills that can help prioritize this, scrap it out, communicate to people that they're not going to get everything that they want. So this role of product owner becomes quite difficult. And so, so in the simple situations, which all the Agile guys will talk about, it's quite easy. But when you start getting more complex situations, then they become a lot closer to a traditional business analyst, and without the documentation. So it's a bit, it's more than what the Agile guys like to talk about, but it's a lot less than what the business analyst folks want to talk about. So
actually, Ken Schwaber always said that that's a role.
Now they're running into that. Yeah.
Another situation that I might think of is when you don't have one customer, but for example, like one of the projects I'm working with, you have 150.
Yeah, always.
Then you definitely need somebody in your organization that traditionally we call product manager. And traditionally he's not going to be able to explain to developers at sprint planning meeting the level of details maybe there. So then you definitely need some sort of business analyst that you were mentioning.
Yeah, so then what happens is that person in that role explains to the best of their ability, and then they've got to be smart enough to say, oh, well, the expert at this is Sally Jones, let me get you in touch with Sally. And then, so then they act as a mediator. And this is a lot more complicated than what we see. So, which is okay, and we have to, and it's interesting that the Agile community is starting to reinvent all these traditional techniques without the bureaucracy, basically. So it's sort of interesting to watch. But
and how do you convince, in a day-to-day life, how do you convince the product managers to start prioritizing? Because from my experience, that's the biggest problem.
So what you do, okay, so you'll be in a situation where everything's top priority, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so take them at their word. And just, so you tell them, okay, fine, you explain why it needs to be prioritized, you explain what you're going to do, right? And then they're still in fantasy land, everything's still job one.
No, they are going to say everything is top priority.
Yeah, of course. So then what you do is you look at the requirements. So now they've abdicated responsibility. That's what they've done. Okay, good. So treat them like adults. But so what you do is to say, if everything's top priority, like they say, then it doesn't matter what order you do things in, because they've told you it's all the same priority, right? So you look at the requirements, you put it in an obviously stupid order, and then you go, this is the order we're going to do things in because this is the way we work. And you told me they're all number one priority, so it doesn't really matter. So then they look at that, and it's obviously stupid. Then suddenly they have the ability, well, wait a minute, no, you should be doing this first, and then this. But so the risk of that is that, now I've never actually had this happen to me, but in theory they could say, yeah, good, go for that. So then you end up doing a stupid order. Well, that's okay, it doesn't really matter, right? So then, and then at most, you'll get through one or two iterations, and then somebody else is going to point out that, well, wait a minute, what the heck's going on here, right? So, yeah, so you can do, it's pretty easy to deal with.
From experience, they're not going to say that. They say, just give me everything at the end of the program, and I don't care in which order do you do it.
Okay, so then put it in whatever order you want, and still do it in 2-week iterations, and you still show them progress throughout, and if they choose to abdicate, they choose to abdicate. At that point in time, though, I'd probably push back, and I would go to, I've been in these situations, and I would go to the business management and say, I appreciate the fact you put this guy here, but he doesn't get it. I think this guy needs to go and help some other team and we need somebody else that can work in this manner.
Well, I don't have that luxury. What worked for
Have
me
you
in
tried
some cases, I'm not an independent consultant. What worked in some cases was whenever some extra feature was coming in, say, okay, which one do you want to drop from the old ones?
Yeah, okay, so that's fair. Nothing wrong with that.
One thing what helped me, well, that at the beginning I tried to tell to the manager or to the customer that I'm sure I won't deliver all the features what you need. So you have to choose some of the features. I think this is an important point to understand for the customer. That
Yeah. But don't worry about it, right? Like, if they've given the requirements, if you're working iterations, if you're showing them something every single iteration, if they're happy with that, okay, no problem. More than likely, though, they're not going to be, these are normal people. They're going to go and they're going to say, well, wait a minute, I would rather see this before this. But if they do that, great, let them reorder requirements. If they don't do that, great, continue working in the whatever order you were working in. Because they're all the same priority, it doesn't really matter. Just do it.
And what do you do if you have, let's say my case, 30 teams and one product manager? To which of them is the poor guy going to attend?
If you've got 30 teams, each team
when I
should
say
have somebody that
product
can talk.
manager is that guy that is responsible for prioritizing, so for business value, not for explaining the teams what to do.
Okay, so then you need other people that work, so that product manager might be the person at the top of the food chain but they're going to have their lieutenants in these 30 teams. So then the lieutenants have to make decisions in a timely manner, and then they've got to negotiate with the product manager. So that's their problem. But yeah, so the team needs somebody that they can go to and get a decision right now, and if that person doesn't have the authority to do it, well, then you got a problem and they need the authority. Or what they need to do is they need to say, I believe it's priority whatever, but I need to go talk to Sally Jones, who is who makes the final decision. And then you as a professional need to make a decision. Do you go on whatever that person told you right now, or do you wait until Sally makes the decision? And then that's your issue and not theirs. So then you need to, so what'll happen is you'll get a good gut feel over, so whoever this person is, the lieutenant, over time you'll get a good gut feel for how good they are at guessing what Sally thinks. So if they're really good at guessing, then okay, yeah, we'll just live with it, and then every so often realize that we're going to make a mistake. But if they're not very good at guessing, then you're probably going to decide, oh, we better wait for Sally. And that's just the way it is.
I've been in a situation that you described that you said to the client that I can tell you for sure that we're not going to deliver everything. And well, the response from the other side of the table came, well, then you want to abort the project. You want to abort the project because you signed off that you will do it. Now you're telling me you won't. So
yes, and then I asked him, how successful was your last project? Your last project delivers all the features what you imagined up front, and he said, oh, not all. Okay, then you can choose. I can choose the requirements, or you can choose the requirements what you need. It's your choice.
This also works when the client asks you about when will it be ready and how much it's going to cost. And I always answer, but why have I been called here? Because the project already failed once. And when they told you back then how much it's going to cost and how long it's going to take, you believed them then. Why would you believe me now?
Yeah.
I will tell you in two or three sprints a much more accurate estimate than those guys did ever.